Hi, this is Jean Schumacher, founder of Simply Plant Based, and today I have the opportunity to connect with two amazing people, and that is Mark and Wanda Huberman. They have been with the National Health Association for, I don't know, like forever. Share with us your story.
Well, I've been at this game probably longer than anybody you know. I was actually had the good fortune of being born this way back in 1951. In fact, June 26th, when we're at our NHA conference, I'm going to be 71 years old. So for all of my 71 years, I've never had a piece of pizza, never had a piece of meat, never had a piece of fish, never had a piece of cheese. And I've been truly a whole food, plant-based from day one. So that's a pretty blessed birthright that my parents gave me.
You know, the fact that you've never had any of those things, I mean, honestly, that is just so incredible. Mind-blowing to me, because you just don't see people like that. I mean,
well, I haven't met too many people like me, so
I'm not going to argue there.
Well, Wanda's been along for the journey a long time too, so I mean, she's not exactly a newbie. Why don't you share where you came from in all this?
Well, I think I'm more like so many of us. It's a bit of a roller coaster. Mark and I have been married 31 years.
31 years.
31 years.
June 7th.
Yeah.
Just married, 31 years.
So I learned about it when I met Mark, but we didn't meet around that. We met over our careers that were both in the legal field. So I slowly started learning. I was raised on a standard American diet in a farming community, and I made changes slowly. My daughter was only 6 at the time that I met Mark, and she was scheduled to have the typical tonsils, adenoids. We just made minor changes. It didn't take her off anything. It's more, I started adding more fruits, vegetables, and went for her pre-op checkup, and the doctor was so flabbergasted. She never had that surgery until, in all honesty, when that daughter will be 40 in a few months.
Yeah.
And after she went off to college and started doing what so many kids do, finding her own way and eating a more traditional diet, all the old problems came back. And as a young adult, she had that surgery because she introduced the other foods. But it was a powerful lesson to me, and I made changes, and I did the same thing as my daughter. Then I went back to work after my kids were a little bit older, and traveling and being a road warrior, I started making one exception after another, and I too would let in a little bit of dairy, more processed foods, and still eating good vegetable salads every night. Thought I was doing okay. And like 8 years later, I turn around, I gained 50 pounds. I'm tired all the time. I wasn't as sharp mentally. And so that was in 2011. I called Dr. Goldhamer and said, I didn't have a medical diagnosis other than pure exhaustion and obesity. And I called Dr. Goldhamer, and he said, get a one-way ticket and come out tomorrow. And so maybe it was 3 days later, but I did. I bought a one-way ticket. I did a 19-day water fast, which was more of a detoxing and a neuroadapting. And then I stayed another 2 weeks to learn good habits with working out and better habits with cooking, and just so I could set myself up for success. And I came home only 20 pounds lighter because it was only 5 or 6 weeks. And within 6 months of eating that way, I'd lost the 50 pounds that my body knew was too much. And it just has stayed regulated at that weight now for 11, 12 years. My journey taught me, for so long I was kind to myself, and Mark was really kind. He's like, you're still doing 80% better than most people. Don't beat yourself up. And he never set my path. It really was up to me to set my own journey. Nobody can do the work for you, no matter who you're surrounded with. And I was surrounded with lots of good people, but I wasn't willing to do the work until I was. And then I just, had that light bulb moment that 100% all in, at least in my experience, was so much easier. I didn't feel like I was teasing myself every other day, like I can have this, I can't have that. Now I've neuroadapted. That's the thing I think people don't realize. If you give yourself 30 days, you'll start to love the food. And I prefer what I eat. And so it's,
You know, she did tell me, I always remember that before she came home, she called me from True North and she said, look, I want the freezer empty. I want the pantry empty. I want the Keurig gone. We had organic coffee. We had Amy's pot pies. We had all the health food, junk food stuff. But she said, I want to see it. It was kind of Chef AJ's line. If it's in your home, it's in your mouth. And she said, get it out of there. And I got it out of there and it's never come back. And that's been, for me, it's, you know, kind of died and went to heaven because, you know, I love Wanda because of Wanda, but the fact that she could share this lifestyle 100% with me when we travel, when we go to the city, when we vacation, to share that is a wonderful thing. And I know from my many years in this movement, that's not always the case. It's often a solo challenging journey for couples, whether it's husbands and wives or boyfriends and girlfriends. And it's tough, not impossible, but tough. But it's such a pleasure and such a privilege when you can share it, like Alan Goldhamer and Jennifer Morano, and Joel and Lisa Fuhrman, and people like that. It's just, we're very, very lucky to be able to share that now. And we've been sharing it now for, well, 12 years.
That is so awesome. And I know, I mean, for my husband and myself, we do it the same. Well, first of all, he doesn't have a choice because like I cook. So, you know, he doesn't have the choice. Here, eat this. And he does. But he's reversed, you know, symptoms for multiple sclerosis. And I know I've, you know, healed high blood pressure and I've lost weight and, you know, just on and on. And I healed my thyroid when I was told it was impossible to do. So there's just so much that you can reverse, you know, from heart disease to, you know, dealing with cancer and everything else in between, either, you know, reverse it or help feel better.
so the one thing people don't talk about, because I didn't have any medical diagnosis to reverse, the mental clarity. I don't hear people talking about that. It is amazing. So I was in a corporate America. I was in a casualty insurance position, and I managed my own files, but I wanted to go one step higher. I wanted to just raise into an upper level management position. And I was like this close, and I'd interviewed twice. And honestly, the people they hired over me, I agreed with them. They were extremely talented. And when I got home, that position opened up again. And I was like, I don't know, I've already got rejected twice. Am I going to try it again? And I thought, I am. And I went for it again. And I went for that interview. The same people interviewing me. And they're like, what happened? You just knocked it out of the ballpark. Your clarity, your answers, your insight, everything that position needed, I was now able to express that I understood that. I think I understood it before, but my mental clarity. And it's a fast-paced, you know, any corporate America, any job these days, they do more with less people. And you just have to be able to make decisions quickly, get it done. And I credit that to going whole food, plant-based.
I also credit to radiance. I think radiance is a quality, and it certainly is an X factor, and it's there as well. I mean, I think you feel better about yourself, you present yourself better, all the mental clarity that Wanda talked about. But I think when you radiate health, that radiates, it sells yourself to whether it's an employer or a performer or whatever it is you're doing. I think it's an X factor, and it certainly doesn't hoit, as we say in Yiddish.
Right. Well, National Health Association been promoting a whole food plant-based lifestyle since 1948. Talk to us about how this started.
Well, you know, we are the oldest organization on the planet doing this and still doing this. And I think I like to say often that, you know, a lot of people think that the whole food plant-based health movement began maybe when John Robbins wrote Diet for a New America, or T. Colin Campbell and Forks Over Knives came out in 2011, or a whole spate of books came out after that. And it's like never ending now. But truth of the matter is that the founders of our organization, the people that inspired, that were the mentors for Joel Fuhrman and Alan Goldhamer and Frank Sabatino, these were the leaders, the founders of the American Natural Hygiene Society, now called the National Health Association. This is 1948, and we have really not changed in our principles. They talk about whole foods as being the core of this message. It's kind of nostalgic to look back at the banquets that I attended. Probably I attended my first conference when I was maybe 10 years old. But the banquets were literally whole foods. There were mountains of tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers, and whole foods was the heart of the message. And I think the message that has been kind of our banner, our slogan from the beginning, that health results from healthful living, that's what we've taught. You can really control your health destiny by following this diet and lifestyle. And I think maybe the thing that distinguishes us a little bit today from a lot of other whole food plant-based groups out there is that our insistence, or our gold standard that we recommend that our diet be without added salt, oil, or sugar. And that's an interesting thing. And we know that not everybody is able to do that. It's a path, it's a journey for everybody, and not everybody even has to, because some people are blessed with better constitutions than others. But this is clearly the goal. And our goal at our conferences and in our magazine is to show that if you can adhere to an SOS-free diet and still have all the pleasures of eating, whether it's what would traditionally be vegan pizzas, you can have healthy vegan pizzas without added oil, salt, or sugar. You can do the same thing with pastries. You can do the same thing with cookies. That's the wonder of the times that we're in, is that you can do all of that. But that's the standard that the NHA has held from the diet standpoint. And we've never wavered from that. I mean, that's where we've been for a very long time. And it's something we're very, very proud of. It's a rich heritage we got.
For sure. And Wanda, you are the conference queen, honestly. Your attention to detail is just, it's incredible. So what makes the NHA conference different from other conferences?
Right. So I learned so much going to conferences. I started going when I met Mark, before we were married, raising our children that were going with other people that were taking their children. And I think I just learned as I went, and it becomes a little bit of a family. So it's so unique that there's, maybe a third of the people come every year. They've come for 40 years, some of them, or more. And it's nice to reconnect every year. And then there's new people that are coming. And so it's nice to feel that energy of the new people. But I think it's that sense of connection. The doctors don't fly in, give a speech, and walk out. They hang out. So if you sit down at a table with Dr. Frank Sabatino or Dr. Joel Fuhrman, or this year, Dr. Columbus Batiste, or the amazing Brenda Davis, or any number of our extraordinary speakers, if you sit down at their table, you're going to have lunch, breakfast, or dinner with one of the speakers. And if you don't happen to sit at their table, but you see them in the hallway, they're so generous with their time. And so, and besides our experts, we have so many other amazing coaches and doctors and nurses and just other people raising families. So if you want to come and learn about raising families, you're going to get that info. If you want to come and learn about going into your golden years, you're going to get that info. If you're in that sandwich age group where you're caring for kids and you're caring for your parents, you're going to meet somebody that is in your situation. And the networking, and because it's all in one hotel, this facility is set up so great that it's not this massive place where you're spending 5 minutes walking and you're missing people. Your rooms are on the upper levels, the lobby, the ballroom, eating, everything is just the new home of open concept plan, I'd say. And you get to talk to the vendors, and Vitamix is we consider them part of our family now. And the owners of Vitamix will be there. The CEO of Vitamix will be there. They're hosting a reception. We have so many people that get excited, and they're coming from all over the country, that it ends up, the majority of our attendees come in on Thursday because they don't want to miss a minute of the activity. So we offer bonus sessions. So Thursday, Vitamix, they're so generous, all at their own expense. They bring all the food, their head chef comes, and they'll do a whole Vitamix reception for us Thursday evening with hors d'oeuvres. And You'll get to taste it. You'll get to see the newest Vitamix equipment that's out there. You'll get to ask questions. And then following that, Jane Esselstyn, who is from Cleveland, is going to come in and talk about plant-based living, that everybody's heard of the famous Esselstyns, and you'll get that feedback. And then Friday, you know, we bring in so many speakers and there is so much content. So the challenge is, I could make this conference easy 6 days. It's just people in America today don't have that kind of time. So we squeeze a lot in and tell people, schedule your own breaks if there's a segment that might not speak to you. And so Friday morning, we want people to feel like they're moving and invigorated. And I rent coach buses, and 30 minutes away, maybe 20 minutes away, is the beautiful Cuyahoga Valley National Park. And this year, I'm so excited because the park rangers are partnering with us. We've never had that before. They've suggested the best trails. They've suggested the hikes. They're going to lead it. So if you have a question, the park ranger and their assistants are going to be there. So that's ours. I say, feels like you're in our living room.
But you know, Jeannie, Wanda doesn't like to toot her own horn, but I will about her conference planning skills. One of the things that is really the heart and soul of our conferences is the meals. And Wanda leaves no detail unattended to. She arranges taste tests with the hotel. We did one just last week where they made us the meals that we give them to make sure that it looks right, that it tastes right. And you know, hotels change chefs all the time. And this year it happened again, but fortunately the sous chef who was there last year is still there. And from what he showed us, he didn't miss a beat. The other thing Wanda does is that, you know, she negotiates the contract with the hotel that keeps the price. I don't know where you go today in a big city and you get a hotel rate of $139 a night. And that applies to the few days before and the few days after. And it is, as Wanda said, it's a beautiful facility. If any of your guests have been to Embassy Suites, they're just beautifully laid out. You have this huge atrium. And fortunately, this one was just recently remodeled, so it's handicap accessible, even more so than it was before. It's just a nice environment. And so Wanda's put together a flow and the schedule that she refined almost every day. She's tweaking it here or tweaking it there. And so again, the attention to detail, and maybe because of Wanda's background in the insurance industry, she's the best contract negotiator you ever met in your life. So, so again, we're in good hands of her management of the conference. I kind of do the hosting and, you know, get some of the attention, but she's making sure all the details are done. And so it's, and she's also, I think, in fairness to Wanda, the one thing that just kind of like, I like my steamed vegetables and baked potatoes, and I can eat that every day. But she's always saying, look, you got to have a little variety of life. And she's one who's always been saying that, you know, at all our conferences, just like in our magazine, that we have to have more diversity, that we have to have not just diversity, but new speakers, so that, you know, again, you want to keep broadening the horizons of our people. So every year we try to do that. And this year, she mentioned just casually, but we have the one, the only legendary Brenda Davis, RD, who's as good as it gets. Brenda's we've never had her in an NHA conference. We had her at a mini event in Florida, but never for one of our conferences. Dr. Columbus Batiste, the renowned cardiologist from Kaiser. Columbus is here this year. He's just a great guy. So again, every year we try to add to, you know, the venerable, you know, Joel Fuhrman and Alan Goldhamer, people that have been there year after year after year, but always have something new to say. But that's again, kind of Wanda's role in all this, to make sure that, you know, that we speak to diversity, that we bring new messages in. And so that's kind of what we try to do. And one other thing that she does with the meals, and kind of going back to meals, because I think it's something that I think we do, she does better than anybody. All our meals are buffet. You're like at the never-ending salad bar. Every meal has a salad bar, because I think she's a proponent, as am I, of Joel Fuhrman's foundational theory that your salad is your main course. That's what you fill up on. And so every one of our meals, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, that's where it is. One other thing I just want to add that Wanda arranged, again, giving credit where credit is due. It's a unique thing about this conference is that when our meals, our official meals included in the package, our Friday dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner on Saturday and breakfast and lunch on Sunday. But if you come in Thursday, or even if you come in Wednesday and you stay over Sunday, we're not providing the meals, but we've arranged, and we did it last year so well, or Wanda arranged with the hotel, that they're NHA compliant meals, essentially the same meals, not as much, but it's all a la carte. So you buy whatever you want. If you're coming to the NHA conference, you don't have to schlep a cooler with you. You don't have to slip out to Whole Foods. You will be well taken care of all the way around. Those are all the kind of little things that Wanda has brought to NHA conferences that certainly didn't exist when I was going to them for many, many years. So it's just added plus.
I want to add two things. When we go back to speakers, we've had this gentleman one time, but I am so excited that JP or John Pierre is coming back. And his classes in the morning on fall prevention, balance, and coordination, that might sound like something you worry about when you're 50, 60 or older. It's for everybody, and it's going to be at every detail. And then afterwards, I have to retweak the schedule. It's not even on there. Your audience is the first to hear it. He's going to do a 15-minute segment about home preparedness and safety, part 1, part 2, just so you know, how would you want it? What do you want in your house? So that if COVID hits and the world shuts down again, you don't have to worry. And he did
Toilet
that.
paper.
Yeah, so he's going to do that. So you'll get a salad bar every morning, you'll get a fruit bar, you'll get oatmeal, and you'll get a pastry. And every meal will go from salad, soup, entree, sides, and dessert. And
by the way, speaking of pastries, this is kind of a novel thing that happened. I don't know, Jeannie, if you're a fan, if you remember manna bread or a scene bread that used to be sold in health food stores years ago. Well, I'm a big fan of manna bread because it's just, especially their carrot raisins sprouted. It's just sprouted whole organic wheat, carrots, and raisins, and it's one of the best little loaves they got. So I reached out to Manna Organics, and Mighty Manna Organics Bakery and that are delivering. I don't know how many cases this is, but they're delivering so that every one of our breakfasts, everybody's going to get some of their manna bread as a token for them. But manna bread is just, it's a wonderful food, and it's just, and we also have Well-Being. If you're familiar with Well-Being bars, it's kind of a healthy Joel Fuhrman inspired energy bar, and Well-Being has donated 300 and some wonderful Well-Being bars that are going to be in everybody's bag. So it's going to be a goodie bag for lots of people too, that'll have some really neat things for it.
Well, I have to say, I mean, you guys talked about, the great things at the conference, but I have to tell you what I really enjoy is, first of all, the people, because I've been going now for quite a few years, and to me, it's the best conference. It's like coming back home. It's like re-engaging and reaffirming my belief in plant-based living, because honestly, my husband and I were like the lone strangers out here, like people look at you like, weird, you eat what? And it's like, yeah. So I don't have to ask questions, because I know Wanda has like triple checked everything in the kitchen, and I don't have to ask questions. I have food that's prepared for me that is not going to hurt me, that is going to give me good, vibrant health, number one. So it's the people, and I look forward to seeing the same people coming back year after year after year and connecting with them, just in person, giving a hug. To someone,
My late great father said, Jeannie, that when you come to our conferences, it recharges your battery.
Yes. Plus, it's cutting edge. Every person that's up there is going to be giving and presenting cutting edge material. It's not just like the same old. It's all, good, solid information that is cutting edge without question. And I love being able, like you said, to have dinner like with Joel Fuhrman or, with Frank Sabatino. I just posted a picture of Frank. He's got these balloons on his head.
Yeah, he's so
He's
much
getting
fun.
his fruits and veggies on, and I can't wait to see you, Frank. And just connecting with so many amazing people. Like the presenters and the people, but the food. Oh my gosh,
they're so good. I told him my latest conversation was, one, you will have 2 dressings. If you want nut-based dressing, because that's kind of where you're at, you're going to get it. If you're trying to avoid nuts because that's where you're at, you're going to get it. I told them how important salt, oil, and sugar. I said, so when you buy the plant-based milks, you can't just buy a plant-based milk. I want you to go to Trader Joe's. I want you to get their organic soy milk. I said, the ingredients have to be the plant and the water. And I said, and if I question that, I'm going to come back in the kitchen. You're going to show me the package. So be true.
That's what I love about you, because your attention to detail is just like incredible.
You know, Jeannie, you picked up on something when you said about how good it is to be around like-minded people like that. It kind of goes back to what I said earlier, and what you mentioned is that, you know, this can be a very lonely lifestyle. You don't get, you know, Wanda and I don't get invited out to dinner a lot. I'm sure Jeannie and Carl, you guys don't get invited out a lot either. It is wonderful, and it's just reaffirming and reassuring and inspiring and recommitting to be around so many like-minded people for a long weekend. It really is reassuring. I think that's what we try to do with the NHA. You know, our conferences are once a year, but our magazine comes out quarterly, and we're now doing a little more social media stuff like you are. With our Power Your Health Q&As, and we just established a new, hasn't come out yet, but we have a health science podcast that Frank Sabatino is going to host. We want to contribute to that sense of community because it can be a little lonely out there. And to providing that kind of support is part of our goal. And that's what our conferences do, it in spades.
But we need to add, so for those that can't get to Cleveland and join us, it's not too late. You can still register up until Thursday. So if you have an inkling, go on our website. I'm sure Jeannie will post that information. But if you can't get to Cleveland, we are doing it virtually. And we use a platform that makes you there as much as you can. I don't know about you. I don't want to sit through another meeting where somebody's talking at me. So we're setting up network rooms. And if you're in that group that you want to talk about raising kids, you can go off in your own little network room, whatever that subject is. We're going to have swag bags in it for our virtual attendees that you can't get the product, but maybe I can give you discounts and coupon codes for the product. What else does our virtual?
The other thing that we do is that what Michelle Vilsack, who's our virtual conference coordinator, what she and I did last year, and that was our first time, we were just rookies doing it. But one of the things we do to make it, again, not just like a one-way street where you're just watching the presentation, we actually allow you, we interact. So during a break, I'll go out and talk to a doctor who's just spoken or before they just spoke, or I'll take you on a tour of the meals. You may not be able to taste it, but you'll get a good flavor of what our meals are all about and how we do this. And the same thing, we just try to make it interactive. And with the hop-in platform that Wanda's talking about, you have that ability to interact with us, to post questions, almost like a Facebook Live, only this is much more. And then what Wanda didn't mention, what I think is really special, there are a lot of these summits that go on. There are a lot of them out there. What we do a little bit differently is that not only do you have the ability to live stream the whole event, but in that, for that same cost of purchasing the right to live stream, you have the right to access the replays for up to a year, not for 2 weeks, not for 3 weeks. You get it for up to a year. And it's just, we use a platform called Vimeo, at least we did last year, where it's just like YouTube. You have, here's all your lectures, you watch some now, come back to it, start, stop, whatever it is, but it's a really high quality presentations. And again, it's just a little bit more of a, we call it a, kind of a hybrid virtual option. So you're live streaming, you have the right to the replays, but we also, our goal is to make it interactive. So it's a pretty good deal. And you can go to healthscience.org, click on conference, and you can register and you get access to all of that.
Right. And we have a children's program. So I've got a children's program. We have somebody leading that. Kids from 5 to 10 to, I don't have any 12-year-olds, much over 12, they're not too interested. Much younger than 4 or 5, they want their mom. But that 4 to 12, 5 to 12 is a really sweet spot. And the kids like interacting with each other as much as we do. So they get to play, and there's games, and we have somebody coming in to do face painting with them.
And we also arrange for the doctors to spend time, a number of our presenters to spend time with them too, if we can pull that off. So we just try to make it a little different.
That is just so awesome. And I just love each year you're adding more and more things that I just love. And that's what makes this conference so unique. Where can we find more, Mark?
You go to healthscience.org. We have a new website that we launched right at the beginning of the year. And there is all kinds of content. One of the things that's that I'm most proud of is that when you become a member of the NHA, the basic cost of which is $35 a year if you live in the US, $55 if you live outside the US. That includes a subscription to Health Science Magazine, which I proudly say is, I think, one of the best magazines on the planet because it's 40 pages long. It's as good a quality as any magazine you'll see, but it has no advertising in it. We're selling nothing but education, information, and inspiration. I think we do it really well. And when you register on when you become a member for that same $35 that gives you the print magazine quarterly, you also gain access to all 44 years of back issues for nothing. You can just log on and read them at your pleasure. Interviews with everybody who's been anybody in this health movement is there. Recipes galore, stories on just about every health issue you could find. So it's a really good deal. And then one other thing for those that are kind of more interested in the history of this health movement, also we digitized about 14 or 15 books on the history of our health movement that are not even available through. I made a book like Fasting Can Save Your Life. It's probably the most famous book ever written by Herbert Shelton on the subject of water fasting. If you try to find it on Amazon, it might cost you $50, $60 if you could find it. On our website, if you're a member, you download it. You can buy it for $14.95 if you don't want to join the NHA, but download it for free, no matter what your format. If you're an e-reader or an iPad or a Kindle, it's all there. So there's a lot of content available on our website. Probably the only thing that we're still working some of the kinks out is the user access. And if anybody has a problem, they just email me at mhuberman@healthscience.org, and I'll get them logged in easily. And one other thing I'll just say to all of your listeners, it's something that I always offer. I believe that people should be able to look before they leap. And if you want to know the quality of health science, don't take Wanda's word for it, my word for it, even your word for it, Jeannie, although I know you're a big booster of it. But if they email Wanda or I, mhuberman@healthscience.org or whuberman@healthscience.org, we'll send you a free PDF of the latest issue of the magazine. You like what you see and you join, we'll be glad to send you a print copy. Although this last issue had my feature interviews with Dean Ornish, and it proved to be one of the most popular issues that we have ever cranked out. And so I have precious few copies left, but there are some, but I got lots of other issues. But it's a good magazine. And again, take a look at it. I think you'll like what you see. People tell us repeatedly, it's the one magazine they get that they read cover to cover. And it's just very interesting.
It's advertisement free because I think it's important for your viewers that are thinking of, do they want to join NHA? Everybody's so busy today. We don't sell any products. So you're not going to get bombarded to buy a product because we don't sell any. We sell education. We provide information. The only thing you can buy would be membership or a book or a magazine, but we're not selling things. Our members we have vendors like Vitamix. And if you're thinking about buying a Vitamix product, get a member, keep it for 1 year. If nothing else, you're going to get 15 to 20% off your Vitamix purchase and free shipping. And Mama says the same thing. If you want their meals delivered to your house, you use our code, you're going to get 10% off all of her products.
One of the things that I find when I do interviews for the magazine is that sometimes when you interview people live, they go all over the place. Some people are very cogent, very focused and all that, but with one of the luxuries of doing an audio interview is that you get to edit it, you get to revise it, you get to, kind of reorganize a little bit, send it back to the author and say, is that the way I wanted to say it? And they do. So I think you'll find, and people tell me, maybe the greatest contribution that I make is that I'm a pretty good interviewer and a pretty good editor, and people really do commend me all the time. And I'm not saying that, I think I'm saying it only that I think that the interviews, like other aspects of the magazine, are very readable, very enjoyable. And I try, when I interview Dean Ornish or Joel Fuhrman, I'm not just interested in their opinion on nuts or meditation or whatever they are. I want to know, I want to share with our readers who they are, where they came from, what makes them tick. And that's, I think, a quality that's unique about the interviews that I present than the interviews that you could find almost anywhere else. And again, by being in print, they have an institutional quality about them.
So we are recording everything for the conference. And just like last year, you can go to our shop page and you can purchase the interviews that we did for last year, and they will be available for purchase as well. However, and you might be better off just buying it now while it's being live streamed, and there'll be some things you can see live streaming that aren't a technical interview. You know, some of the little add-ons that we do impromptu, like somebody might go up on stage and start talking to you, or there's going to be things you'll get live streaming. And part of the live streaming is you will then have access to all of the interviews. And I'm creating a e-cookbook of all the menus, because I provide the menu for every meal and I provide the recipe. And so for those live streaming, you're going to see in your, I don't know if I'll have it ready for the swag bag, we'll see, but you will get access to the e-cookbook from all the conference recipes and menus.
And when you become a member of the NHA, you know, COVID got in the way in 2020, but 2017, 2018, 2019, 2021, and now 2020, all of those recipes are also archived on our website. So I mean, it's just kind of an interesting, you want to be able to eat for a weekend. There's lots of breakfast, lots of lunch, lots of entrees, lots of desserts. And it's
Oh
just,
my gosh.
again,
I mean,
another
the
benefit.
recipes are amazing. Honestly, I mean, because like I'll be eating something going, this is really good. This is delicious. Oh my God. And I know that I'm going to be able to find the recipe because Wanda puts it up there. And she has for quite a few of the conferences. And so that's one of the things I love, is because I get to try new dishes, and it's like, ooh, yumminess, you know, so.
Yeah. So you've been to quite a few of our conferences. You've talked a lot of, well, you already said what you enjoy the most is the connection with old and new friends. Anything else that you think works better than what just an, you know, I don't want to say an ordinary conference, but.
Right. Because I've been to quite a few of these, and I have to say, without question, the NHA conference is leaps and bounds better than a lot of the other ones that I've been to. And I think that's because, first of all, your attention to detail is just incredible, legendary. And what I like is that you can connect with the speakers. They just don't come in and then leave. And I love being able to talk to some of these people and being able to ask them questions directly, because I have questions. I always have questions. So
and you'll be able to take the answers back to your viewers. That'll be great. And I want to tell, if anybody's watching live that is coming to the conference, go on to the conference webpage and sign up for your hike. I've paid for 4 buses. Once those buses are filled, if I needed one more and I knew people were signed up, I could probably get a 5th. I hate to have anybody miss out, but if you wait till you get to the conference, it's too late for me to make those arrangements. So it's free. We're providing that all as part of your conference ticket, but you do need to register to get a seat on the bus.
Right. No, for sure. I went on some of those hikes in the past and they're amazing. And it's just being able to connect in nature with people that share the same.
You know, and by the way, if you've never been to Cleveland, if somebody's never been to Cleveland, Cleveland happens to be the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is worth coming a day early or staying a day late just to do that. It's pretty extraordinary. They just have a brand new Beatles exhibit from the documentary that was done on the last concert they did. That's the current exhibit that they have there now. And also, you know, the hikes we go, the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Cleveland is the only city in the country with a national park. Part of the national park system is in the city of Cleveland. There are various reservations and that. It really is beautiful. The ledges where we went last year was just extraordinary. So lots to offer in addition to the good food and the good speakers and the good community. It's just a nice place to be.
Well, honestly, thank you so much for taking the time to connect with me here today. I cannot wait to see you guys soon. Honestly.
I'm looking forward to seeing you too, Jeannie.
Well, thanks for the shout out, Jeannie.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. And if anybody is still thinking about it, you do still have a few slots open, right?
Yeah.
We do.
If people want to
We
come.
have lots of virtual attendance spots, but we also have lots of spots at the conference, although you really need to book your room soon because the deadline to book your room at the guaranteed $139 rate is over. But as long as they still have rooms in our block, and you mention NHA2, when you call the sales office, not the front desk, You go to our website and all the information is right there. You just scroll down the bottom. It tells you the phone number to call, and you should still be able to get that $139 rate. There's going to be 300 like-minded people there, so you'll be be a great time. Don't want to miss it.
And if you have any questions on the rates, some people have had issues, sometimes you call a hotel and you can't help it. They put you through to a reservation line. Just call me, email me, we'll get it taken care of.
So thank you very much, and I'll see you at the conference.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye-bye.